Welcome to the Lead Style Way podcast, where we explore what it takes to sustain leadership at the highest levels, from the professional, the personal, to the physical. At the heart of today's conversation, I'm going to be addressing a deeper question. How do you build a life and a business, or lead a business, without losing yourself in the process? Success isn't just about scaling or achievement. It really comes down to the energy, the alignment, and creating that lifestyle that reflects your values, not just about the work. Today's guest is Alex Plante, a former New York City advertising sales executive who traded the corporate hustle for a lavender farm in Buffalo, New York. What began as a way to step away from the desk and spend more time with her growing family has blossomed into a multifaceted business, complete with a wedding venue, vineyard, and wine sales. And yet Alex's story raises a question that many leaders come across. How do you lead a thriving business and yet stay true to your values without losing yourself along the way? For Alex, it's about balancing her passion for the farm with her desire to be present as a mom, a parent, a partner, and really a whole person. Welcome, Alex. I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
Alex, where are you joining us from today?
So I live in a small town called Lewiston, New York. So I'm north of Buffalo, New York. I'm right on the Canadian border.
I'm curious about what time does your day start working at a farm?
Well, I don't have animals. So I don't have to do the whole 4 a.m. milking a cow schedule. I usually get to my farm at 9 a.m. That's pretty normal for me. So the hours aren't super early, which is nice.
And so when you're not at the farm, you have a team of people that are there already in the morning tending to your vineyards and your fields.
Yes. Yep. I have about 10 employees. So yeah, I have employees that are just dedicated to farming. Yeah.
Now give me a sense now, when I ever walk on the field, on the farm, would I smell the lavender instantly?
Yeah, in the lavender season, which is mostly June and July. Yeah, it's beautiful. We have almost 3,000 lavender plants, so it's a large field. Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is.
Now, when you take us back, Alex, because you left your corporate job, and where were you working at the time when it kind of hit you that you wanted to start something different?
So I lived in New York City for about 13 years. I moved there right after college and started working in advertising and media, which was great. And I did well. And, it's definitely a work hard, play hard culture in New York City. Um, while I was living in New York, I met my now husband and we had our first daughter. So we were living in Brooklyn at the time. I had an infant. I was on maternity leave. And I was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this whole commute into Manhattan, traffic and long hours. And a lot of the women I knew at the time, they would get home pretty much right before their kid was going to bed. So you would see your child for maybe 30 minutes. They're kind of almost like weekend families, really. Like that's when you saw your child. And that was just not for me. I grew up in upstate New York, so I grew up not in that culture. Just, people had houses and backyards and cars and, normal hours of work. So while on maternity leave, I came up with this business plan. I wanted to create this lavender farm wedding venue as a way to make my own hours, work outside. Because at this point, I've had a desk job for 13 years. And I'm creative. I'm a creative person. I had an Etsy shop where I was making candles and lotions and stuff like that. So it was kind of a marriage of,
You were already doing that. You
yeah,
already had your Etsy shop and this creative side of you. You were doing that while you're working this corporate job in PR, right?
yeah, yeah. I
So
was making soaps and candles
so
and
did you grow up on a farm where you were like, okay, or was it just something totally out of the blue?
no, it was something totally out of the blue. It's just something as a hobby, I would go to classes like candle making classes and soap making classes. Like I learned how to cold press soap and it's just something I liked to do. So I made an Etsy shop, and I worked with lavender a lot just because I personally liked it. So a lot of my candles and soaps and products were lavender based. So the idea of the farm was kind of a dream, because at that time I'm living in Brooklyn, so I couldn't even buy a farm even if I wanted to. But it was just kind of I made a business plan. I remember it was a 10-year business plan. So I projected out 10 years of earnings and, fixed costs and all this stuff and loans and everything. And then I just kind of held on to it because it was just sort of a dream thing I put down on paper. And then my husband was able to transfer his job. He's a lawyer, he works in finance, and he was able to transfer to an office in Buffalo. And I had never been to Buffalo, New York. I just thought to myself, well, if we move to Buffalo, I can maybe pursue this farm idea. So we moved up to Buffalo in 2016. Is that right? And I started looking for farmland right away. So I just started looking around. I'd never planted a single plant in my life. No one in my family is a farmer. So I did not know what to look for. I just did a lot of research into soil.
And your husband was 100% on board with this.
His mother was a stay-at-home mom, so I think he liked the idea of me not working as much, because I was working a lot. And in fact, when we moved up to Buffalo, I still had my New York City job. So I had an infant, and I was flying into Manhattan from Buffalo several times. Like I'd get up at 4 a.m., take like a 5 a.m. flight, get home at midnight. I'd like do a day trip. So I was like working a lot. I think that's kind of why he backed it. Like, okay, like she can still work and make an income and have her outlet, but she'll be around more for the kids.
And and you knew that was important to you.
Yeah.
Right. To kind of find that integrated way of, having your career still and personally being the type of parent that you wanted to be.
Yeah. So maybe that's why he agreed to let me pursue this crazy idea. I call myself a doer. I am very decisive. When I make a decision, I just move forward. So I bought a farm and I moved forward. It was just farmland. We had to build a barn. We had to plant all the acres of lavender. We had to plant hay fields. We had to do all this stuff. I'd never done any of this before. But I'm just someone who can like make decisions quickly and keep moving forward. Now it's 9 years later.
Did you stick to your original business plan?
Yes, actually, I really did. The original business plan was to have a lavender farm where I could make lavender products, as I had already been doing. I wanted to also have a U-pick element so that visitors could come onto the farm and pick lavender. And then I wanted to have a barn where we would host weddings and events. The one thing that I did add on that I did not foresee was the wine. We have now been making wine for the past 2 years. We planted a small vineyard, and we've been producing wine and selling wine as well.
You started this because, you were kind of maybe tired of the corporate rat race, if you will. And you were also at that time pregnant with your first. And since then, I think you've had, siblings as well that have come along.
I have two now, two children.
You have two now. Okay. So did you achieve that what it is that you're looking for, as far as, are you still living right now that balance, I guess, or that integration that you're looking for?
Yes and no. I do love my business that I've created, and I feel very proud of it. And when I am there at the farm doing work, which I will be later today, I love it. Like, it doesn't feel like work. But the negative is I'm working a lot again. And so what I was trying to get away from in New York City, working long hours, working all the time, I'm sort of back to doing that, because over the years, my business has grown, which is exciting. Like, we've taken on more weddings and making more products, and our U-Pick event is bigger every year. And now we're making wine. And so this whole idea of, making my own schedule and having winters off and stuff like that. Now I'm working a lot. Summers are crazy. So from April 1st to end of October, I'm working all the time, every day. But I do sort of have winters off. Winters, I am still working a little bit, um, but it slows down a lot. So that's the negative I'm currently in right now, which is how do I work less, um, but at the same time balance my ambition to have this business grow. So that's a challenge.
What is it that you're seeking that would feel like, this is the right mix? Like,
I'm pretty much all day working in some way,
yeah.
whether it's my business or my children. Um, so I definitely need to have more time for myself, for my marriage. I always think like I kind of put on the totem pole of priorities, I'm the lowest one. So me having time to read a book or work out, I'm the lowest on the totem pole. Just having more time, freeing up more time. And for me, what I've been working on lately, because I don't want to sacrifice my business growing. I like that my business is growing and I like that it's doing well. And I don't want to slow that down. So I think for me right now is finding the right employees, the right team members and partners, and being better at trusting and delegating and hiring people that ideally would do the job better than I would at certain things. So that's what I'm working on now, just to get that time.
I think that's a really important piece, when it comes to leadership, just, like you can't do it alone. You had to have good people around you to be successful.
Yes.
And so for you, like you're looking at your team and you're thinking that, strategically, it sounds like there's specific hires you need to make in order to allow yourself to kind of step away from the day-to-day operations, it sounds like.
Exactly. Yes, I'm very much in the day-to-day operations. And so, yeah, that's what I have to work on. I've got to work on either empowering my existing employees
Mhm.
to step up and take on more responsibility, or hiring new people who can do that.
What is your day like right now?
Every day's totally different. So interestingly enough, what I enjoy doing most with my business is the farm part, going out into the field, planting, weeding, fertilizing, all that stuff. That's my favorite part. Today, I'm going there after this conversation, and I am meeting with an electrician to fix some electrical issues we're having in our venue. And then I'm just going to plant some lavender for a bit, which I really enjoy that. So that's a fun day for me. But most days are focused on weddings. So we do usually 2 weddings a week. So we have like a rehearsal, and then the actual wedding itself. So there's a lot of work that goes into leading up to the wedding, getting the property ready, making sure the ceremony area is clean and perfect and the lawns are perfect, and making sure everyone's doing their job in that respect, and decorating and setting up and vendors and all of that. So that's usually where a lot of my time goes. So I'll be there on site making sure the wedding or property is being ready and prepped for the actual party.
Hmm.
I don't work the weddings, so I just make sure everything's prepped and ready to go. And then when the wedding actually starts, I leave. I have a team that actually runs the wedding, but I just make sure everything's ready to go. The wedding stuff takes up tons of my time, the majority. So that's sort of what I'm looking to delegate the most, because it takes up the most of my time and it's my least favorite part of the business. So yeah.
I imagine that comes with a lot of personalities, if you will,
Yes.
that
Oh,
have.
yes. Yes. And we also we provide the bar, so it's stocking the bar and making sure every bar menu is custom made to each wedding, signature cocktails. So there's a lot of prep involved. So yeah, there's just like a lot goes into, weddings are a big deal. So a lot goes into it behind the scenes.
I mean, however you've been operating to date has led you to have a very successful business right now. How do you right now share those responsibilities outside of work? Whether it's farm, at the home, or just other obligations that we have outside of work. How are you managing that now?
We don't have family that live in the area. So unfortunately, we don't have parents on either side to call to help pick up kids from activities or anything like that. So just a lot of juggling. My husband is really good about really helping, and I'm seasonal. So I'm super busy in the summer. And then I'm slower in the winter. So we kind of give and take. Like he steps up in the summer and he's way more involved with the kids in the house. And then in the winter, I kind of take that. So we kind of do a little teetering of who takes on more of the home and child responsibilities based off of my schedule. So yeah, it's just divide and conquer. I would say not winters, summers, which are my extremely busy time. I kind of give myself a little bit of grace when it comes to house stuff. So I'm a perfectionist, so it's very challenging, but like this sounds psycho of me, but I let my husband fold the laundry, which I hate how he folds the laundry. He doesn't do it right. He doesn't fold the t-shirts how I like them folded. He doesn't put them in the right drawers, but I have to kind of let go. And then, with cooking dinner, I like to cook dinner. I just don't have the time. So we order out a lot. We go to restaurants, we order in. So that was a bummer for me to let go of that stuff. Like, it's the summer. I'm so busy. I can't be cooking dinner for my family every night. I have to order in pizza or whatever, have my husband cook. Something that made me feel a little bit better about it is one of my best friends, her father was a farmer. And she said that during corn harvest season, he was so busy harvesting corn that they would get pizza a lot. And, that was their life. And she said that was my most fun memories as a child, because it was like, yay, it's corn season. We get to order in food. And like, it's so much more fun because, kids love ordering in food and having pizza and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I guess that's a fun way to look at it. My kids can think of it as like summer was always like this fun time where we got to like hang out with dad more and order in pizza most nights and stuff like that. So just giving myself grace when I am busy that I can't do it all, and that's okay. And then in the winter, when it slows down, then I get to be like the mom I want to be. I get to be at all their games, and I get to pick them up from school, and I get to make dinner. So I just accepting that I can't do everything has really helped. And like I said, my husband's extremely helpful.
I also feel like there's this contract that you have with your partner, with your husband, about, sharing those responsibilities, being with one another during the peaks that he may have in his career, during the peaks of your time in your career. It's almost like, was that like something intentionally you talked about with your husband, or was it just assumed?
We've talked about it. I mean, I've said, I can't be cleaning the house. I can't be making dinner. You need to help. And he's like so great. So he's like, of course, I'll help however I can. I mean, we do have a cleaner comes to our home and cleans our home because I don't have the time to clean the house. Mm-hmm. So we did like talk about what he can take on and what I can take on and what neither of us can, like what to outsource. So yeah, we've had those conversations, and those do help. And I think we've finally, I mean, the business has been going for 8-9 years. I think we finally have gotten into a good rhythm with it. But it was definitely been tough. I mean, there was definitely times where he wants to kill me and I want to kill him. Because, and it's also a season of life when your kids are young. My kids are 7 and 9. So, this is, I think, a particularly hard time of life when your kids are young and you're both working, and, it's just kind of like a time of life where it's just going to be hard.
Nobody kind of warns you about just how difficult it can be, and how it's not even like the same day. You can't even be the same parent to your kids every day. Like it requires, like, there's seasons, like they go through these cycles of changes, which then I think challenge you, about how you lead as a parent. And then you have to make adjustments, even, professionally, on how you are going to be the type of person that you want to be to your kids. what do you feel like what's kind of maybe changed or transformed for you the most? When you started this 9 years ago, what did you not foresee or expect?
How hard it is. I'm trying to be a very present and great mom, and I'm trying to be a very present and great business owner, and I'm trying to be a very present and great wife. And also, I'm curious still to be a person. Like, I started taking piano lessons last winter. I've learned how to ski in the winter. So, just getting to know myself, because I feel sometimes I'm so busy that I'm like, who am I? Like, what am I? What am I interested in now? I don't even know who I am anymore. So I think the busyness of my schedule, I went from busy with just my career to now I'm busy. I feel like in all elements of my life, time is my number one currency, my biggest value. Um,
Do you
so
feel like you knew yourself before, like better before you started this endeavor?
as I get older, I'm now 41. I am more curious to get to know myself. And maybe I wasn't as curious to get to know myself before, if that makes sense. Like you said, every year is different. Every season is change, things change. My kids are changing. My priorities have been changing. But I actually, to kind of inspire myself and get myself through certain changes and whatnot, I listen to a lot of podcasts just like this. I listen to a lot of business podcasts, women in business. I feel like it's sort of a way to be like, oh, there's other people who are going through this, or oh, that's really inspiring to think of. I never thought of it that way. So that really helps me a lot when I'm feeling like there's a shift and I'm maybe too stressed or too something. I actually go to podcasts usually to just kind of almost like a therapy session.
Yeah. So when
Yeah.
you think about the community that surrounds, who is in your community that helps you thrive?
I have a great group of girlfriends who I talk to, and my husband is very good at forcing me to go out with friends and be social. If I could, I would work every minute of every day. And I'm glad he does force me to, because I do make an effort, maybe once every other week, maybe, to go out with friends and just, yeah, it feels good just to, like, complain and talk and vent and yeah, like you said, see that everyone has the same stuff in just different ways, different packaging, different doors to the same house. I'm the boss, and everyone I work with are my employees. So it's not very professional for me to complain to them a lot. I try to, like, keep them pumped up and excited for, especially weddings. You don't want your staff to be like, oh, this bride is so annoying. Alex was just complaining about them. So I don't really have coworkers to complain to per se. So I complain to my husband a lot, which he's good at taking. So he's great at listening and giving me good advice. I'm a big talker, so I'm always on the phone with friends. And because my job is I'm working with my hands a lot, I'll just put, like, my earbuds in and just talk and talk as I'm working. And it helps.
Yeah, to bring that vulnerability, I feel like,
Yeah.
it kind of humanizes almost a robotic way with which we start to operationalize as leaders to get the work done.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. What anchors you? I mean, as you have gone through this journey of, this is why you started, this is why you left the corporate kind of rat race. This is why you went into farming and became an entrepreneur. Yes, there's shifts and, you're growing and you're seeing, changes in your business. What's the one thing that you feel, is it a belief or a word that keeps you anchored to sustain yourself on this journey?
I don't know if there's a w- word per se, but I really do enjoy what I do. And I feel proud of it.
What is that joy that it gives you? I'm curious.
When I'm there, I think maybe the creativeness, um, because my my farm, it's a physical place that people come to, and so I'm always thinking of new ways to make it more beautiful and beautify the space in the lavender field, and adding to it. The electrician I'm going to meet with in an hour, I might be adding new lights, these cool pendant lights. And so I love the creative outlet. I still make the products. I make in the winter time when I'm closed, I make the lotions and the candles. And I just like love being in my workspace and making these products like I used to 10 years ago in my little Brooklyn apartment. I love being outside. I love working with my hands. I just really love it. And I think it's probably similar with having kids, right? Like raising kids is so much work and but you love it. So it doesn't feel as much like work. So I think that's probably a similar thing that's going on with my business. And I think of my business as a third baby. Like it's a child. It's like another child I have. So yeah, that's what keeps me going is just the love of it.
For other executives that are listening to this and maybe feeling like they're losing themselves to their career and maybe wanting a change, but fearing that change or the cost that might, what advice would you share for them?
I almost lose myself in my own business because I'm so integrated into it. I sometimes have to pull back and be like, who am I? What am I interested in? What do I even want to do in this? Like, this is still my life. My business is not my life. It should not be my life. So I'm lucky in that I have a slow winter, and that is when I take time to kind of find myself again, if you will. Like last winter, I started taking piano lessons for the first time. This winter, I might take bagpipe lessons. You know, this is our one life, and I think that if your career is making you miserable or too stressed or whatever the issue is, you have all the control to do something about that.